feet, this is a shakedown. Order up that beat just like it's takeout.
Welcome to my first podcast ever in my office/closet, my cloffice. This is my first guest, Alex Martinez, the wonderful Alex Martinez, who gave me the name for the podcast. So we all need to really give him a hand because Unemployable was that we were talking last week and he was like, I think that you could, name it maybe Unemployable. I was like, that's amazing. That's like the best name I ever heard of. So the Grandois, is that how you say it? Grandois sure. Copywriter, creative director, Alex Martinez. Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi. Oh my God, this is so exciting. The fact that I have the honor to be, I'm the first guest. I'm going to be the answer to a trivia question one day. People are going to be winning free beer at a bar because of me.
I think you have high hopes for my podcast, but that's great. We should.
I do. I have high hopes for your podcast, and I have high hopes for you as well. I'm so excited to be here. This is so much fun. Unemployable. It just kind of. It's a funny name because it's sarcastic. It's ironic. It's tongue in cheek. A little bit of truth to it. It's all about perception. It's so right on. And, as I've watched you through your journey of navigating employment/unemployment throughout these years, I think this is so awesome for you to do. It's so the right step. I talk about you all the time about how much action your LinkedIn posts get. I'm like, oh my God, like this lady is trending.
Lady, a girl.
This lady. You are of a certain age, okay?
Let's talk about it. Yeah, it's been fun to be trending for a little bit. I don't know. A lot of people ask me for advice. I feel like I'm the worst person to give advice, though, because I just tell them to just be honest. And we've seen how that's gone for me.
I mean, look, you can't go wrong with it. I think you're tapping into a nerve where there's a lot of truth to everything that you're talking about, and there's a lot of sympathy that goes with it, and a lot of people can relate to it, and there's so much it's funny because it's true, right?
Remember we used to say that all the time. It's funny because it's true. It's that human truth aspect of things that a lot of people, they don't realize that if you find a human truth and you make it funny, like that's it, you win. You're gonna win because everyone can relate to it.
Everyone can relate to it. It's becoming, unfortunately, a universal truth that you're talking about. And those that, there's a level of perspective that's important to have, right? Because it's not like it's almost like bonded by trauma. There's a lot of folks out there that are bonded by trauma. Yeah, right. And so, but I think the fact that you can poke fun at it and the satirical aspect of it is really important, and people can laugh at it, and there's a lot of I'm not alone in this, which is really helpful, especially in today's times. So I applaud you. I celebrate you. I'm happy to help you however I can, and more excitedly to be your first guest on this amazing journey.
Anyone else? I feel like you were always going to be my first guest.
Oh my God, you flatter me. Thank you.
Alex and I, we met at Sapient.
Yeah.
The office was in Palmetto Bay. We were all on site at that time.
South Miami, near the water, which was nice, but there was blue crabs that would cross the street all the time. You remember that?
And the peacocks.
And the peacocks. It was peacocks everywhere. Yeah. You look outside a window and it's blue crabs and peacocks.
Mm-hmm.
Miami.
Yeah, that was so fun. Early 2000s. Everyone were on site. Nobody worked virtual. And it was like, I have to take a sick day. You didn't even take your computer home. You left it in the office because nobody worked from home.
You pieced out. The thing that I would say, what made it so special is Sapient never felt like a job.
Yeah. It was fun.
Right? It never felt like a job. Like I was going in today to hang out with my friends and do dope shit.
Yeah.
Like that's what we were gonna go do today.
Right.
And we were gonna laugh and tell jokes and break out into song. We had,
like dancing and the whole
just dancing and like people just doing videos. Like before TikTok videos were a thing, we were just doing them to cut up and be silly. And it's not like that anymore.
It's not.
Is, good, bad, or indifferent. It's just not like that anymore.
It's not the glamour like it was. Like that glamour, it just doesn't feel the same. Yeah,
I would agree with that. And I think this might be sort of a cyclical thing where because the companies are the in-house agencies are being built. And so sort of the rise of that. But I feel like, we're going to come back around and it's going to be an agency thing again. And then it comes back because we need to create efficiencies and we need to be smarter with how we're spending. So, we're going to build a more robust internal agency. But then when you're doing that, you're like, but the folks are too close to the work and we need some fresh thinking and we need to procure an agency to come help us come up with things. And then it's like, well, if we're just spending money on an agency, why do we need these people? Let's just use our agency.
Right.
And not have to pay for benefits. And it's just going to be a cyclical thing.
Interesting.
And hopefully it's going to come back around. Being on both sides of it, I can tell you the virtues of each, but being as how I'm at an agency now, it just feels right. It just feels right.
Yeah. It's funny because when we first started, I feel like there were not many in-house agencies. If you went in-house, you weren't doing advertising. It was like you were just doing branding or graphic design, and it felt so different. But now, I mean, you have in-house agencies that are doing incredible work. Like Liquid Death is doing like amazing work.
Amazing work. Yeah, sure. MailChimp does great work.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
It's just the evolution has been wild. It's interesting when you think about it because you have to let your people have freedom, right? And I think that is what we felt when we were working at Sapient because, there were days where me and Casey we would sit on the beach all day and we would brainstorm.
Yeah.
And there wasn't like, where are you? Why aren't you in the office? You were working on an account or we were pitching, like we were on the pitch team for like a year.
Yeah.
So, like there were some days where we didn't even come into the office at all. We just met somewhere else and like brainstormed, and that was allowed. I just feel like now, I don't know. It's either you're in the office, there's a back to office mandate, right? Or you're virtual. But if you're virtual, your partner's probably not even in the same state as you.
If you have a partner.
If you have a partner, right?
Yeah.
I mean, my last partner, he was in Austin, in Texas. And so when we brainstormed, it was like this, which was fine. There was still connection. We got like amazing work.
Yeah.
But it's just, I wonder how new grads feel about advertising. Like, I just wonder, like, the kids coming out of Miami ad school now and that are interviewing now, I wonder what it's like there. Because when I went, there was an art direction track and a graphic design track. They were totally separate. And the art direction track did not work on web. And you know what? When I was there, I was like, I want to work on web, but I want to be an art director for web. And so I got the first ever internship with Razorfish New York through Miami Ad School, and I think it's still going now. And
that's wild. I don't know. I really, admittedly, I'm sort of disconnected from new grads and how, but I think that is a great question. I would love to know what their perception is. And listen, I mean, when we were new grads 20 years ago. So
I have like a pretty big strategy background, and I come in to every interview with strategic insights that I gathered. So do you think that strategy still holds value? Not over design, but does it still hold value? Because I'm finding that when I come in and I talk to people, they don't care about the why. They just, how are we going to do it?
A lot of creatives are focused on how are we going to do this?
No.
How are we going to make this cool? How are we going to shoot this? How are we going to design this? How are we going to art direct this? The more you could understand what it is that you're doing and why you're doing it, the better off you're going to be. I always joke about the example that I use and I've used with students is, a brief comes across the desk and it's, we're selling toasters. And it's like, okay, but what are we really doing? Well, we're selling toasters. No. What are we doing? Well, you keep asking that question until you understand that, no, we're not selling toasters. We're redefining breakfast. Well, that's a completely different brief than we have to sell toasters.
100%. Right.
Right? And so I want to work on that project where I want to redefine breakfast and how this toaster is at the center of the breakfast experience. And so that you need to constantly, and it's not challenging because I don't think you're good at your job and you haven't given me information. It's the human aspect of collaboration and considering other perspectives or alternatives. I see your data and I see your information, and that's fantastic. Could we be chasing something else because that makes me think of this? No, that's out of bounds. Okay, cool. Right? But you need to have those conversations to workshop that in order to get to the right. And so I shudder at the idea of, no, strategy's over there. They're just going to email you a brief. They'll have a kickoff call. Peace. Like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. I don't do well with transactional work. I don't, this is not, I'm not a bank teller. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's so interesting. I don't know. My experiences have been just so different, I feel like, than I thought they would be. So I've lowered my expectations substantially.
Why? You lowered your expectations.
Yeah, so because the first two interviews I had, I was offered both roles. I even drug tested for one role, and then they were, because budget was cut, so they were pulled. And they were for like really.
Is it sure that maybe you failed the drug test? I'm kidding.
Yeah, no, I definitely didn't fail the drug test. So budget was pulled, and then I was kind of like, crap, let me like take a beat and just like reevaluate what's going on. And that's when I realized how horrible our industry was, because I didn't know. I mean, I went from an ad agency to an in-house contract. And so I had no idea that we were suffering the way we were. I remember there's this one guy, it was for this pharma job, and he was like, how did you get here? Like, you don't have pharma experience. And I was like, I don't know. This is like round 6. I don't know how I got here. It was round 6. And he was like, well, tell me about yourself anyway. Like, I knew I wasn't going to get it. But how did I get through all those other rounds to get to this dude when I didn't have pharma? They saw something. Yeah. They wouldn't have just moved me forward.
I don't have any pharma experience, but for some reason they're hiring like crazy, huh?
I've interviewed with 3 pharma places. One of them I didn't have TV, which I feel like that's fair. That's fair. I haven't done TV in like 10 years, so fine. Another 2, I didn't have pharma experience.
It's very detailed. Pharma.
Right. And it's a lot of copy in a really small space, which they were like, we just have concerns that you won't be able to put a lot of copy because there's a lot of legal copy in the small spaces. And I was like, well, I've worked on car campaigns before, leasing companies where they have, when you're leasing a car, you have a lot of copy in a small space. And I sent them all these samples, and they were just like, I actually backstopped to see who they went with. And they went with this girl who her book was all pharma. I can't do that. No. I have a chance.
It's very niche.
So you were hiring people at one point, and then you were on the other side, and you were looking for a job.
Yeah.
Did you feel like the disconnect between when you were doing the hiring and when you were looking for a job?
So when applying for roles nowadays, it's sort of a 2-part system. And a lot of folks that are watching this certainly know this, but it bears mentioning. You have to go through the online application. You just got to do that, right? You need to have it there. But that's just one part of it. You really need to do your due diligence and find out who is the hiring manager, who is the creative director, who is a person that has an opinion on this individual or this role or this open rec to circumnavigate all of that. Otherwise, you're just going to go into a stack, right? I've had opportunities where I've talked to folks and I'm already in through the interview process because I know people or I've made a connection. They're like, hey, before we move any further, submit your application through this link because you literally need to have it for. So that's a part of it. You have to do it. It's obnoxious. But the biggest part of it that I would say is, well, there's so many big parts of it, right? As a creative director, if someone's sending me their resume for a design role or a copy role, any type of creative role, and it's in Word, I'm already like,
I agree with that. Yeah. I definitely have two. I submit two. Why do you think why can't the decision maker just do the interview? Why are we meeting so many different people?
Because it's, this person's not qualified. Why are you wasting my time? Or this person was look, I've done just send them to me. Just send me people and I'll figure out who I want to meet with. And I've met with some not good candidates. Not only on paper they look good, but then when you meet them and you talk to them, you're like, oh no. This isn't going to work. This isn't. And so there's a lot of value in someone that just has like is this person real? Is this person, what we're looking for from an individual standpoint? Like there needs to be that just like vibe check. And then we get into the, nuts and bolts of things. So I think do I think the process is 6 rounds? That sounds like a lot to me. 2 rounds, that's not enough. So there's got to be somewhere in the middle.
And then when you're doing it, do you interview them first or are you last? Because I feel like I've had both where like the VP of Creative would be first. Sometimes they're last. What do you think?
I interview them after they've been vibe checked by the recruiter.
Right. Okay.
So it's like, I like their book.
Right.
Did you meet them? Were they nice? Did they, yeah, I think, okay, cool. Then I'll go and I'll talk to them and I'll be like, all right, I'll then pass them to folks that they're going to be working with.
Right.
Right. And it's like, okay, I really like this person. Now, when you talk to them, can you vibe with them? Can you jam with them? And so if it's, whoever their partner is going to be, or if they're going to be, cross-functionally collaborating with someone from a different department, I'd pick, a manager from that department, be like, can you see this person working with your team? Right. That kind of stuff.
I like that you meet them first though, because then it stops the time wasting because you're not meeting with 100%. People who are not the final decision maker. So I like that.
6 rounds. That's wild.
I met 6 people.
I guess the point is, and this is sort of, I guess, my headline for all of it. You have no control over anything. Right. Like none of it.
It's an illusion.
And so, and we've talked about this in the past. Like in your interviews, what's going to separate you? Why are you a G? Why are you the best? And all you could do is present yourself the best way.
Right.
And put yourself in a position where you leave no doubt. There's a phrase that I learned early on in my career from someone who, I'll say his name, Everett Starling from Manhattan, Kansas. He once told me, if you're going to be a bear, be a grizzly, And as you're going through these interviews, sure, it's good to know what it is that they're looking for. And for you to acquiesce and to, that wrong word. Let me try that again. When you go through these interviews, it's good for you to know what it is that they're looking for and for you to check those boxes. But just know that everyone that they interview is doing that.
Right. So what's the additional glitter or whatever it is that I can bring? Yeah. I mean, I get that. I think that's why I make it so far. I think that's why I get to like the final round so many times, but I miss the mark. It's like, you don't have this experience that we need. And I don't get it.
I think the experience that you need could be, you could find that early in the interview process, not at the end. You know what I mean?
I do. I don't know. It's like they're sold on this idea that if you are going to be working in a certain industry, you have to have experience in that industry. And that's been a common reoccurring theme in all of my interviews.
Yeah.
And it was never like that. Our industry was never like that.
Yeah. I don't know if it was never there's a lot of value in it, right? Because the level of on-the-job training that you don't have to do, A. B, perspective that you could bring. Hey, when I worked on an account like this is how we handled it. Oh, that's really interesting. We can adopt those methodologies to help create efficiency, right? Like there's a lot of learnings in that. However, creatives by nature, the good ones at least, right? We all need to be curious, and we need to be creative problem solvers. Right. A creative isn't defined by design acumen, isn't defined by, their prose, right? As a writer, the creative isn't defined by anything. It's defined by how can you solve a problem creatively, right? Because if you're defined by your craft, I'm a really good designer, I'm a really good calligrapher. Like, there are programs that are being built for that.
Right.
So you need to be a creative problem solver, right? The way that I market myself is, what is your business challenge? I will help you find the creative solution. Right. That might come in the form of an advertising campaign.
Right.
That might come in the form of a flyer. That might come in the form of, a new product, a service line. Right. A new process, right? A TV commercial. I don't know. But let's unpack your business challenge, what it is that you're trying to solve. Right. You're not trying to sell a toaster. You're trying to reinvent breakfast. Completely different brief. So let's unpack that and let's figure it out together. What are we doing? Why are we doing it? Why are we the ones that are doing it? Why are we the ones that need to redefine breakfast? Okay? And why will anybody care if we do that?
Yeah.
Let's answer all that, and then we can go bananas on how we're going to do it.
Right. Yeah, because if you're curious, then it shows the company that you have the ideology, the spirit, strategy brain to keep moving, to move the client forward and to make the work better. I feel like nothing's ever the best. This is not the best. We just want to be better.
We're never done.
Right? We're never done. Let's make this better. I have an idea to make this better. And I feel like I'm missing it a little bit. Like in my interviews, I'm missing. We just want the best. We want the best. Check all these boxes. Not how do we make this better? How do we change the consumer experience to make it better? Why do people want to come to our website? Why do they want to click a button? I'll ask those questions and the answers are just kind of stagnant,
Because they're not the ones that know.
Right.
They're just interviewing to make sure that you check boxes. Yeah. And that's sort of one of the things in the interview process that is challenging, is that the people that are deciding aren't necessarily have full purview into what defines success for this individual, because they don't necessarily know, because they're not in the weeds, right? Especially the ones that are filtering you in the front. So that's a challenge. I think what's important is, and this is sort of my advice. So I'll tell a story. So, when I was at Warner Brothers, that was my first non-agency gig, and I loved it. I loved Warner Brothers because it worked with really cool IP, and the people were awesome, and I was like, oh my God, I'm here forever. I want to grow here. I'm chilling. And then unfortunately we had global layoffs, right? As you know, the whole entertainment industry is kind of in a weird space. And we were all let go because basically the entire marketing department. I was like, I don't know what I want to do. I'm kind of sort of lost. in a way where I've never really felt like where I need to go. Like I'm at an inflection point in my life. And through a friend, they recommended I have coffee with another friend. And so I went and met this person for coffee. And I was kind of talking to him about all the stuff that's happening. And he says, "Scott, you remind me a lot of myself about a year ago." And he said, "Here's my advice to you. Write everything down. Everything that you want. Your goals. Your dreams. What do you want from your career? What do you want from your finances? Where do you want to live? What do you want your relationship with your family, with your kids, with your spouse, with your mom? Everything. Write it all down."
Right.
I did that, and in 9 months, my life was changed. I had the house, all that I wanted to live, my relationship, and I was like, "Oh my God, you blew my mind. Really? All this happened?" I get in the car, extremely motivated. I'm telling my wife all about it. I'm like, I'm inspired. So I came home, and I got in front of my computer, and I just started typing everything that I wanted, from my career, my personal life, financially, all that. Write it down. Came back the next day, changed it a little bit, made it more, changed the tenses, the tone, made it more active, made it more specific. Little by little, things started happening, right? The intentionality of
Right.
putting it all on paper.
Yeah, in the universe.
And the universe, right? And then I love that you said that, because the next thing I would say is stop asking the universe for things, right? First and foremost, thank it, right? Thank it for everything that you have.
Yeah.
Lead with gratitude.
Yeah.
Lead with gratitude. Stop asking and instead say, "You know what? Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity," because you're going to look back on these days at some point and be like, "I'm so glad I had to go through that." I know it sounds like shit for me to say this right now.
Agree with you 100% everything you're saying. Gratitude is so important, and being thankful is so important, because you're not going to get to the next level.
Yes.
Even if it's all shit right now.
Yeah.
When you're sitting in shit,
Yes.
it feels like shit. But once you're out of the shit, it defines you in a way.
It gives you so much perspective.
Right.
It gives you so much perspective. And then the last thing that I would say is stop waiting for something to happen. And I always screw this up, and we were talking about this the other day. I always screw it up because I don't know what the actual line is, but it's, action creates motion, or movement creates whatever, right? Whatever that line is. Actually going out and connecting with people in real life.
Yeah.
I had a thing on LinkedIn where I would do like the coffee circuit, where I'll be like, "Who wants to have coffee? We can have it like this virtually, or if you're in town, I'm in Atlanta, I'll go and have coffee with you." And I went and had coffee with a bunch of people, and they were from all walks of life: realtors, entrepreneurs, creative folks, UX. I mean, you name it. It ran the gamut of folks that I had coffee with. And you never know where those conversations are going to go, because I never went into them going, "All right, maybe this person can get me a job."
Yeah.
I would go into them, be like, "How can we help each other?"
Yeah.
And I connected people, and people got jobs because of it. I introduced them to someone who introduced them to someone who got them in a room. You never know. And the point is, nothing's going to happen without an initial action.
Right. Yeah.
And so it is our responsibility to make those happen.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, one thing you could say to somebody could change their entire perspective and change their life.
Yes.
Like, I know that we've had conversations where you've said something to me. I now look at things completely different because of a piece of advice that you gave me. Yeah. And it's so important for people to keep talking to each other and to keep that, like we were saying earlier, that human aspect of just life alive. We weren't meant to sit in solitude. That's not what we're meant for.
No, you're right. We're getting further and further away from it.
We
right?
are. We are.
You know, and it's almost silly that this podcast isn't in real life, but we're in
I
different
know.
states.
Well, we live too far.
Too far, but
I am going to do some in real life.
this has been so much fun.
Yeah. Thank you so much for doing this. This is amazing.
No, the pleasure's all mine. Trust me. I can't wait to see more episodes. I can't wait to see where this goes. Let's keep talking.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Thanks, Alex. See you in another 20 years.
See you in 20 years.
You're the new MC, you got the remix.